nice of you to join us at eBus. My name is Mr. Kennedy, and I'll be your teacher this year. Every year, first couple of days of classes, I like to do something called my me bag. My me bag is something that I fill with different items that tell a lot about me. Things I like, things I'm into, that kind of thing. So I figured since I'm teaching online, I might as well do this by video. Thank you. So, first thing that I have in my me bag is a pair of snowboard boots. Now, usually when I have a classroom, I don't bring most of the big things in, but because I'm at home filming this, I indulged a little bit and added some of my bigger items that I normally wouldn't bring in. I wouldn't bring my snowboard boots to school usually. Anyways, so I've been snowboarding since I was 10 years old, so that's quite a while. I'm 33 now. So, yeah, I really enjoy snowboarding. I have snowboarded many hills. Yeah, I really enjoy it. Alright, next thing. I'm an English teacher. I have a degree in English literature. And I enjoy teaching writing, novel studies, that sort of thing. So it would be fitting that I have a novel in my me bag. So my novel is one I'm reading currently. I'm reading several novels currently. But this one is pretty special for a couple of reasons. One, I'm really into science fiction, so I like to read science fiction. This is an author that was quite prolific in the genre of science fiction. Wrote a lot about robots. Very, very famous author. This is a combination of every robot short story he wrote during his career. He died now, but yeah, so this is quite good. Very old book. I think it's from the 80s, but it has a lot of interesting short stories about robots. All right. Next thing, and again, like I said, I normally wouldn't bring in this many things, or would I bring in this big of things? You guys are in luck. I'm at home, and I have everything here. So, what I have here, I'm really into fishing. I really, really, really like fishing. Really got into fishing the last several years. I do a lot of river fishing, fishing for trout, fishing for pike, fishing for whitefish, fishing for walleye. Living up north, I'm currently living in Vanderhoof, or I teach in Vanderhoof, I guess, and I live in a place called Port Fraser, about 30 minutes from Vanderhoof. I live right on the Nechako River. It's quite beautiful. My backyard is the Nechako River. It's quite amazing. Anyway, so I got a fishing rod, and I started fishing when I was very young. My grandma actually taught me how to fish. She taught me how to tie a hook. And we used to fish in the ocean when I was a young person. So that was very exciting, and I've always kind of just fished whenever I get a chance. Never super successful, but you know, I catch some fish here and there, and that's always fun. So fishing is not always about catching fish. It's about you know, enjoying nature, that kind of thing. All right. That being said, we will move indoors. A couple of outdoor sports, a couple of indoor things. Now, you know I'm into science fiction. I'm also into video games. I game. I love to play video games. The latest one that I have is called Duty Ghosts. I play online, and that's pretty much the only kind of video game that I like to play. I used to play all kinds. I do have a collection of video game consoles. I have pretty much all the Nintendo consoles that have been made, all the way up to the Wii. I don't have the Wii U yet, but that could be in the cards sometime. So I collect those. That's a lot of fun. But like I said, I live in the country, and where I've moved recently, I actually don't have regular internet. I only have satellite internet, so I can't actually play online anymore. So that's very sad. All right, enough of that. Okay. Another thing about me, and I really enjoy golfing, and this is, I mean, these things are some of my favorite things too, not just things that tell a lot about me, they're some of my favorite things. This is my my driver. I really like to golf. Really good. I've been golfing since I was 18. I'm 33 now, so that's a significant amount of my life. Really took it up in the last couple of years, spending a lot of time on it. Awful. I'm awful at golf, but that's probably one of the good things. Perfection is boring, and perhaps I'm drawn to golfing because I'm awful at it. And I really, really enjoy the challenge. So that's that. Yeah, excellent. Let's see right here. All right. So the last thing that I have for you, one of the last things I have for you, I might throw in a few things. The last thing I have here is a football. And I have a football for a couple of reasons. One, I played football for several years growing up, 5 years. I coached, or I'm currently coaching. I've coached, this will be my 6th year of coaching. I love coaching football. I'm coaching senior varsity right now. I played defensive back, cornerback, safety, halfback, those kinds of positions if you're familiar with football. So that's why I bring this football with me, and I like to share it with my class. That's one of the reasons. Football is really important to me. And I just love the game, and I love to talk about it, and I love to watch games and that kind of thing. So this is really important. Next, you might notice the name on the front here. It says Lonnie Kennedy if you can't read it. Now, that'll become interesting in a few minutes. So this football is a really kind of fantastic football. You can see it's all ratty, really old. This football is really, really old. It's older than me. It's older than 33 years. This football is probably closer to 44 years old. That's really interesting, a really old, crummy football, right? You're thinking to yourself, how interesting is a really old, crummy, beaten-up football? Well, I'll tell you, it's very interesting. This football has been through a lot. I'll tell you the story. The person on the front here, my uncle, he died when I was 5. He was 19. Very, very tragic, very, very long time ago. But nevertheless, this belonged to him. His parents bought it for him when he was a young boy, and he promptly lost it in the forest at their farmhouse. Fast forward 15 years. A couple of years after he had passed away, my mother and I think I was 10-ish, maybe 9, 8, somewhere in there, visited this old farmhouse where they used to live. And, sometimes people do that. They go back to where they grew up, and they like to poke around and visit their old houses. Of course, you ask permission of your current tenant, or current owners. But we did, and we poked around, and we were looking around. And I was a little boy. I was 8 years old, so I was poking around in the dirt and running in the forests and, that kind of thing. Looking for things, hanging out. That's what young boys do. Anyways, I was looking around in this forest, and I seen something poking out of the ground. And, of course, as an 8-year-old boy, that's something that you couldn't possibly turn down. So I started to dig it out. I dug it out, and finally I got it out, and it was this dilapidated, squished, worm-ridden football. That's what I pulled out. It looks just like this. And so I shake it off, I brush some of the dirt off, and I'm thinking, hey, I can take this home and fill it up. Maybe no one wants it. It's garbage. So I bring it to my mom, and I show her, and she looks at it, and she turns it over in her hands, and she sees the name on it. This name was still on it. You could still read this, Lonnie Kennedy. And the interesting thing is, she remembers the day he lost this, and that brought back some memories for her. So that was very sad, but it was neat. But she told me to put it back because it was garbage and it didn't belong to us. As a little boy, I obviously snuck it and put it in the car after she told me the significance of the football. So I brought it home, and I cleaned it up, and I pumped it full of air, and it pumped. Oh, it still held air. So that was really, really neat. Kept it, showed Mom again, and she was kind of happy that I took it, even though she told me not to. I could tell. So that was interesting. So fast forward a few more years. I've grown up a little bit. I'm more into different things. This has been around for a while. I'm not too into it anymore. It's away. It's put away. It's hanging out in our storage shed. All right, and our storage shed is, it's an outbuilding from where we live, and it's locked or whatever. And a few years go by, and my mom gets married and she decides that she wants to move, so we move, but we have to leave a bunch of stuff in our storage shed because we can't take it with us right away. We're going to come back and get it later. So, in the meantime, after we've moved, our storage shed got broken into and everything got stolen. Everything was gone. So we found this out and we're very sad, but of course we've already moved and we didn't really need all the stuff and we forgot all about everything that was really there. Nothing super valuable, just stuff. Yeah, so football's forgotten. This football doesn't exist in my mind. I haven't thought about it in several years. Never really thought about it. I was 16 now. Alright, so when it was stolen I was 10. Alright, so we're visiting some friends on Vancouver Island, and this is where the football went missing on Vancouver Island. This is where we live. This is where I found the football. And we're visiting some friends, and I'm 16 and I'm kind of bored. No one's around, no one my age, kind of sick of adult talk, so I'm poking around in every backyard. And they just moved in. They just bought this house, brand new. They just moved in. People I've known for years. We move in, or they've just moved in, and we're visiting. That's what we were doing, visiting. And so I'm poking around the backyard, and I notice they have a shed. And I go look in their shed. There's nothing in the shed, really. Just dirt. It's a dirt floor shed. Nothing really in there, just twigs and leaves and junk. And I'm looking around, and a deep, dark corner of the shed, I notice something poking out of the ground. Had no idea what it was. I just was interested, so I went over and I started to kick at it. I'm 16 now, I don't want to get my hands dirty like I did when I was 8. But I'm kicking at it, and finally it pops out of the ground, and it just looks like a flat, deflated ball of some kind. Totally can't even tell what it is. Doesn't ring a bell. Doesn't point, like it doesn't interest me to the point that I want to look at it. But because of boredom, I pick it up and I bring it outside, kind of dust it off, look at it, and I notice something. And I still don't remember, I still at this point didn't recognize the football, didn't think it was my football at all, had no clue. Just thinking about it, looking at it, and all of a sudden I start to recognize it. I start to recognize this name written on the front, but it's so faded it's very hard to make out at this point. Very hard to make out. Barely make it out. You could see the L, the N, the I, but I start to recognize it and I clue into what this was. So that's very cool. So I brought it and I showed Mom, and she didn't believe me, and I showed her the name, and she was astounded. It was in worse shape now. It was waterlogged. It was in really bad shape. The laces were rotted out. Just disgusting. It smelled awful. So she told me to throw it away. I didn't listen again. So what I did was I took it and I took it home, washed it up, pumped it up, and it still held air. This football at that point was 20-something years old, all right? Still held air, in rough shape. I had to put new laces in it, so I did that myself. Really nice job, right? I was 16, didn't do a great job. It's a shoelace, I think. Anyways, beautiful. I rewrite the name on just in case I ever lose it again. We'll be able to find it. That's interesting. Anyways, that's the story. Beautiful football. Has come back to me a few times. And so I keep it with me when I'm teaching. I keep it with me because it's very important. I like to share this, a little bit of my history, that kind of thing. Thank you. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to share is I love dogs. Okay, I have 2 dogs, Motley and Mo, and I'm going to see if they'll come and see you guys. Mo, come here, Mo. Come here, Mo. Motley, come. Come, up. Oh, this is Motley. Motley is a big boy. He's only 2.5, but he's 85 pounds. Mo, come. This little guy is Mo. And Mo is an old man. He's about 6 or 7. We love Mo. He's a Boston Terrier pug. Woof. All right. Thanks, guys.